All right, all right. Shabbat Shalom, family. Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth and everybody in the room. I'd like to give all praise to the Most High Ahaya, Bahashim, Yeshaya, Ruach Kodash. What I just said was the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit in the ancient Hebrew. Right? We're going to get started. We're going to go into the Lord's Prayer and do the Hebrew Credo, right? Because it's the Sabbath, right? Tonight's lesson, you guys can already see it. It says, is a step up from last week's lesson. The title of this week's lesson is "You Have Been Deceived." When is the new year? Okay, so we'll say that the Hebrew Credo, and then we'll go right into the Lord's Prayer. All right. I put my phone on. Everybody put their phones on vibrate.
My phone's in my pocket.
All right.
Phone's in my.
All right. And you guys online, you guys could follow along with us. What we're gonna actually recite is Deuteronomy 6 verse 4, and then we're gonna go right into the Lord's Prayer. Right? So Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad, Shemai, Yasharala, Ahaya, Allahayanawa, Ahaya, Achad. Hear, O Israel, our God is one. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen, amen. So once again, Shabbat Shalom, family. Right? And as you guys can see, the title already, and I'll just say it again, is titled "You Have Been Deceived." When is the new year? Right? Because in 3 days, or I would say 2 days, right? The whole world will be celebrating what's called the new year, right? We'll be going from 2017 into 2018, so-called, right? And there's a reason why I'm saying so-called, and by the end of this lesson, you will find out why am I saying 2018 so-called, right? So the title is, like I said, we all have been deceived, right? Everybody and their grandmother is going to get ready to wait for the ball to drop December 31st and bring in the new year on January 1st.
It's gonna be 8.
And it's going, like the brother said, it's going to be 8 degrees in the dead of winter, right? You're going to find out you have been deceived. You're going to find out when actually is the new year, right? The first scripture I would like to start with for tonight, just to get things rolling, just to get people to understand where we're going with this message, right? I want to start in the book of Daniel, okay? We're going to Daniel, the 7th chapter. And there's something that I want to point out here to get you guys to realize that, yes, we all have been deceived. The whole world has been deceived. And this was a trick that they played on the whole world. But they first had to do it to the children of Israel. So let's go to Daniel 7 and take it at verse 23. We're going to start there.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth.
So now in the book of Daniel is talking about the fourth beast, right? The fourth beast, he said, shall be the what?
Shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth.
He said it shall be the fourth kingdom upon the earth, meaning upon Christ's return or the consummation or the end of times, there would only be 4 kingdoms that would rule on this earth. And now he's in particular showing Daniel the last kingdom or the last empire that will ever rule until Christ's kingdom. Right? Go ahead.
The fourth kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms.
So it says that this kingdom not only would rule at the end of days and the last days, but it will be diverse from any other kingdom that came before it. meaning there will be no kingdom on the earth that was ever represented this kingdom. Right? Go ahead.
And shall devour the whole earth.
And it says this kingdom will devour the whole earth, meaning it would have the whole world in subjection. That means whatever this last kingdom says throughout the earth, every other country will follow suit. And if you don't play ball with this country, they're sending the troops. Right? Go ahead.
And shall tread it down.
And they shall tread down the whole earth. Right? Go ahead.
And break it in pieces.
And break the earth in pieces. And now some of you might wonder, who is this last kingdom? Right? And we're not gonna, run you through circles here. We're gonna just show you who this last kingdom is. Okay? This is your last kingdom. It's Rome. Okay? On your screen here, you see the images of their emblem, the eagle. Who was represented as the eagle? Rome. Right? Now, who's in representation of Rome right now as one of the last horns? You got it. America. Okay? So now continue reading. So now this last kingdom will be responsible for something. Go ahead.
Verse 24.
Yeah.
And the 10 horns out of this kingdom.
See, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom, and we all know through history who the 10 horns is, and we all learned that in the room, right? Just a quick rundown. Who's the 10 horns? We got the EU, the European Union, okay, and we can run down the whole list of names, but we just for the sake of time, we're gonna say the last horn is America, which is a part of that 10 horn original establishment. Go ahead.
Out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise.
Or out of this kingdom, out of Rome, because of Rome would be in place, it would establish 10 kingdoms like it on the earth. So these 10 kingdoms on the earth would be a representation of Rome. Okay? Go ahead.
And another shall rise after them.
You see? And out of that 10, there will be one that will rise up out of the 10. And you're going to find out that one that rose up out of the 10 was who? America, which the Bible calls the little horn. Right? After the last fourth beast, Rome. See that? Go ahead.
And he shall be diverse from the first.
You see, and it shall be diverse from the first kingdom that it came from. Not only would it take the ancient practices of Rome and ancient Babylon, which Rome actually did too, you'll find out in this lesson, right? It created its own laws. It surpassed where it came from. Okay, go ahead.
And he shall subdue 3 kings.
And he shall subdue 3 kings. Go ahead.
25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
So now this kingdom will be responsible for speaking great words against the Most High, the God of Israel. Right? How they do this? Right? In God we trust on their money. Which God are they talking about? They consider their Lord and Savior is who? Satan. Right? They want to take the Bible out of schools. Okay? You're not allowed to pray in public places in certain instances. Okay? They speak great words about the Most High. Against the Most High, right? Go ahead.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
And it also says that this kingdom will be responsible for wearing out the saints of the Most High. Now the question is, who is the saints of the Most High? You're looking at them. The children of Israel. Your so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. They have worn out the saints of the Most High through slavery. Okay? Racism. All right? Segregation. Right? Put stricter laws on our people than they do on other folks. Place us in ghettos. Okay? Set up abortion clinics throughout our neighborhoods. Go ahead.
And think to change times and laws.
Now, this is the key part I want you guys to understand. This last kingdom or this last empire will be responsible to do what?
Change times and laws.
And they will think to be able to change times and laws. So now that's why we have the question, when is really the new year? Do we know when the real new year is? Because this, according to the scriptures, this last kingdom will be responsible for changing times and laws. What verse?
Verse 25 in the middle.
Go ahead.
And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
So the saints of the Most High and the world shall be given into the hands of this last kingdom for a time, times, and a half of times. Go ahead.
26. But the judgment shall sit.
See? So now there's a prophecy concerning this last kingdom. The judgment shall sit. Meaning whatever is going to come to this last kingdom, they cannot prevent it. Even though they do try to change the times and try to distort history. It's not going to change what the Most High has already put in effect. Go ahead.
And they shall take away his dominion.
And they shall take away his dominion, this last kingdom. Go ahead.
To consume and to destroy it until the end.
Go ahead.
27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High.
So you see that? So the end game goes that though this last kingdom is fierce, all power and glory will still go back to Christ and his people. So now there's a reason behind them changing the times and the laws, and you're going to find out why they had to do this. Right? So now let's go into a little history lesson now, right? Today, in today's day and age, when so-called 2017, what's the name of the calendar that we use today? It's the Gregorian calendar, right? So now the Gregorian calendar, right, which was actually brought into play in the year 1582, right? And this is secular history. You guys can look this up. I had to do a little research to put this together. So in 1582, the Gregorian calendar was adopted, right? I'll give you the name right now. It was named after Pope Gregory the 13th. Pope Gregory the 8th came in and in the year 1582 and said, you know what? We need to revise our calendar. We're not going to use the Julian calendar that was before the Gregorian calendar. So in 1582, they came along and they gave us the Gregorian calendar, and that's what we're using to this day and age, right? But before that was like I said, the Julian calendar, right? And the Julian calendar was brought about, and it was named after Julius Caesar. So now, what are the similarities between these two men? They're both Rome, and according to Daniel, the last beast. They will think to change times and laws, right? So in the year 45 BC, right, up until the time of 1582, the Julian calendar was in play. So now the question was, what was before the Julian calendar, or what was before the Julian and the Gregorian calendar? What you're gonna find out is what was before that calendar was what? It was called the Roman calendar, right? And the Roman calendar, I'm gonna tell you how it was started. It was started in the year, I'll give you the year right now, 753 BC, right? What's so significant about that year? That was the year Rome was born. So the way the Romans did it, they established the calendar based on the year that Rome was started. Okay, under Romulus and Remus. You guys, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys heard that story in elementary school, how Rome was found. I don't know how come I still remember that, but I do remember that. But in 753 BC, Rome was found. And the next date that they have for any significant thing happening in Rome was what? Was 766 BC. So from the time period of 753 BC and 766 BC, there was a large gap. There was a 13-year gap of no history, right? So from 753 to 766, that was the next point in time of when they have a inclination of how the Roman calendar came about. So those are the two dates. So the Romans, how they kept a track of time was based on historical events. The first event was what? The birth of Rome. The second event was what? The first time the Roman Olympics took place. Then after that, in 312 BC, so now you see another jump in number, and close to like two to 300 years later, they have in record the what is it called? The foundation of the Seleucid dynasty, other Romans. Okay, and on and on and on and on. That's when you have Pope, Julius Caesar came in play and said, you know what, we're gonna name it after me, all right? Because we need concrete evidence that we existed. Okay, we can't just have sporadic moments in time when we say that this is our time. And then Pope Gregory the 13th came and said, you know what, no, we're gonna adopt this. But another thing that people don't understand, that with the Roman calendar, right? The Roman calendar, instead of it having a 365, what they given us now, a 365-day calendar, it came in 10 days too short, which is 354. But you're gonna find out through the Hebrew calendar, it was actually a 364 day, right? So I want you to stick with me now because there's a lot of information, right? So prior to the Roman calendar, what calendar was being instituted on the earth? What model of calendars were they following? Right? You're gonna find out that the source of Rome's information and technology came from where? Ancient Babylon. Give me 1 second. Look at this on your screen here. Right? Let me show you this. I'm gonna go to my good friend Wikipedia here. All right. And I want to show you this. 1 second. So now, on your screen, right, it says this. We want to go into this. We want to get some information about the Babylonian calendar, right? It says the Babylonian calendar was a lunar solar calendar, excuse me, with years consisting of 12 lunar months, right? I want you to remember that name, lunar solar, right? You're going to find out there's a reason why it shouldn't be lunar solar. Remember that, right? Each beginning when a new crescent moon was first sighted, right? Low on the western horizon at sunrise. So you see, that's how the Babylonians was able to track time. They was able to track time based on a lunar cycle, right? So you're going to find out that a lunar cycle is not even correct, right? Why am I saying this? Let's go right into it. What did the Hebrews follow? That's what we want to understand, right? Because if we understand that our God is, you know, he's the all end all be all, he's all powerful, we must have the correct dates. So now what I want you to understand is, how did they track time before Christ? There was something, I don't know if anybody ever heard this, where it says like it will say a time period of 1:52 a.m. right? And after that you'll have 325 AD. So now what does the word AM means, right? AM is a Latin word for Anno Mundi, right? Anno Mundi means Latin for years after creation. Okay? So the way the Hebrew cultures, or the way the Most High had the Hebrews count years, was starting from the time period of creation all the way until the time of consummation, meaning until the time of the end of days. Okay? So whenever you see the word AM, that's from the beginning of creation to the current time that they're speaking of, right? So now what does AD means, right? AD means Anno Domini, which is Latin for the year of our Lord, right? So now that's how they track time after the birth of Christ, right? But that came in through the Romans. We didn't track time like that. We track time basically from the beginning of creation all the way into the end. So we had one understanding. So the way the Greeks had to, and the Greeks and the Romans, they tried to explain it is, okay, we knew there was a time period that Christ didn't exist. We'll talk about that time period as BC, before Christ. And everything after Christ, we'll call it AD, meaning the time of our Lord, meaning that's the time when he came on this earth, right? But you're gonna find out that even with that, there was a discrepancy. There was a big mess, right? Let me show you guys another thing here. On your screen, you're gonna see this man right here. Herbert Illig, right? Herbert Illig came up with the saying phantom time hypothesis, right? The phantom time hypothesis. What is the phantom time hypothesis, you may ask? This known, I would say, astronomer or historian, he came to play and said, matter of fact, let's read a little bit about him. Go to Wikipedia. What it says here, read this for the people here.
It says the phantom time hypothesis is a historical conspiracy theory asserted by Herbert Illig. First published in 91, the hypothesis proposes a conspiracy by the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII, to fabricate the Anno Domini dating system.
So that was the time period after Christ's birth. So there's a fabrication in time periods around Christ's when Christ existed and thereafter. Go ahead, keep that in mind.
Okay, I'm gonna just reiterate it. To fabricate the Anno Domini dating system retrospectively, so that it placed them at a special year of AD 1000, and to rewrite history.
And to what?
And to rewrite history. To legitimize Otto's claim to the Holy Roman Empire.
You see that? And everything is going back to the so-called Holy Roman Empire. That fourth beast who would think to change times and laws. Go ahead.
Illig believed that this was achieved through the alteration, misrepresentation, and forgery of documentary and physical evidence. According to this scenario, the entire Carolingian period, including the figure of Charlemagne, is a fabrication with a phantom time of 297 years. In parentheses, it says Anno Domini 614 to 911 added to the early Middle Ages. The proposal has found no favor among mainstream medievalists.
So they're saying here that what the Romans have done, right? The Romans have fabricated or have added time into history. About 297 years. Okay?
Why did you just do it?
But as you can see when we read, they said they did that, right? To make certain claims about the Roman Empire, to put in some type of history that never even happened amongst the Romans, to make them think, to make them feel as if they were, more dominant than what they really were. When we understand the fourth beast would be the last kingdom, right? So now we got that out the way, right? So we understand that the Romans had to change times and laws. What was the purpose of the Hebrews, or how did they track time? We said they tracked time from what? From the beginning of creation up until the end of times, right? And how did the Hebrews actually do this? They did this through a system called what? Jubilees, right? So now, to speed you guys up, for you guys to know what is a Jubilee, because some of you guys may not have heard what a Jubilee is, right? So now let's see why, and through this lesson, you're going to find out why they actually had to do this. Because we just read in Daniel that what? The kingdom shall be given unto the saints, and they shall rule forever and ever. So now you're going to have a little inclination or a little idea of why the Romans had to change the times to try to distort prophecy or the calculation of when prophecy would happen. Okay, so now let's go into our Bibles now. I had to give you that little brief history lesson. Let's go to the book of Leviticus. Leviticus 25. And take it at verse 1. Like I said, the Hebrews observed times through a system called a system of Jubilees. And you're going to find out when in a Jubilee, it consisted of Sabbath years, right? And you're going to understand that years even have Sabbaths as well too. We understand a Sabbath to be what? 7, or a 7-day period. On the 7th day, we rest. The Most High even had a Sabbath when it came to years. Okay? Let's go, like I said, let's go to Leviticus 25 and take it at verse 1.
Leviticus 25:1.
Go ahead.
And the Most High spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them,
Go ahead.
When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Most High.
You see that? So when when our forefathers went into the land of Israel, the land also had a Sabbath period as well too. And you're gonna find out it's not just the regular 7th-day Sabbath. It's a Sabbath of years. Go ahead.
Verse 3. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field.
Doesn't that sound familiar? 6 days shall you do all thy work. But for the land, he said 6 years shall you do what?
Sow thy field.
Sow thy field. Go ahead.
And 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard.
Go ahead.
And gather the fruit, and gather in the fruit thereof. Verse 4. But in the 7th year.
But in the what?
But in the 7th year.
In the 7th year. Go ahead.
Shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land.
Shall be a Sabbath of rest to the land. So every 7 years, you were not supposed to till your ground, because the ground or the land that you lived in was supposed to rest. That's how the Most High did. The Most High is perfect in how he made creation. He did it in 7 days. Not only that, he went to the extent of doing it within years as well too. But you're gonna find out that by following this cycle of sevens, you would get a complete. You'll never fall off of where you are as far as timeline. Right? Go ahead. Verse.
Verse 4. Verse 5. Verse 4 at the end. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. Verse 5. That which groweth of its own accord of thy harvest thou shalt not reap. Neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed.
Go ahead.
For it is a year of rest unto the land.
Okay, so the land also supposed to rest every 7 years. Go ahead.
Verse 6.
Now we're going to find out how we calculate time as far as markers or periods of time according to the Most High. Because the Most High had it set where there would be a certain number of markers or a certain number of jubilees that would take place before the end or the consummation of the times. Go ahead.
Verse 6. And the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you.
See, and the Sabbath of the land shall be meat for you. Go ahead.
For thee, and for thy servant, and for thy maid, and for thy hired servant, and for thy stranger that sojourneth with thee.
Go ahead.
And for thy cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat.
Go
Verse
ahead.
8. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years. And the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years.
So every 7 years, right? For every 7 Sabbath for 7 years would give you what? 49 years. So it would be 7 years times 7 years would give you what? 49, right? So 7 times 7 would give you 49. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And ye shall hallow the 50th year.
So on the 50th year, it would be a separate or a holy year. That would bring in what? Go ahead.
And proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof.
Go ahead.
It shall be a jubilee unto you.
It shall be a what?
It shall be a jubilee unto you.
It shall be a jubilee unto you. Go ahead. What verse you was at?
The middle of 10.
Go ahead.
And ye shall return every man unto his possession. And ye shall return every man unto his family.
So you see that? Every 50 years, it was a celebration because it was a marker in time, in the Most High's timeline. So every 50 years from the time of creation would give you one full jubilee. Right? I want you to keep, there's a lot of information, so pay attention, right? So every 50 years would give you one jubilee. That's how the Hebrews was able to calculate and keep track of time and find out where they were in history. Because if they wanted, because as the time period went along, and further jubilees went past, and you would wanted to teach your kids, you would say, yeah, in the 15th jubilee, this would happen, and the children would be able to calculate time and find out where exactly in the time period it happened. You can't do that in this Gregorian calendar or with the Julian. You can't do that in this Roman calendar. Because why? They've lied to you according to time. They've added years to the timeline that the Most High never even put together. They will think to change times and laws. Go ahead, what verse you at?
Verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
A jubilee shall be that 50th year be unto you. Ye shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth of itself in, nor gather the grapes of it in thy vine undressed.
Okay, that's it on that. So now we got the understanding. So every 7 years, the land would rest, right? So every 7 years and 7 more years after that, when you reach to 49 years, right? On the 50th year would be like a big Sabbath, a big day of rest. So the Most High did it like that, right? 7 years of rest for the land. Then on the 50th year, then everything has to be restored. Whatever you borrowed, any man servants you had, you have to send them back home so they could go and rest and everybody would have a big feast, right? That was one understanding, right? So now, what was the purpose of the Jubilees? Right? Like I mentioned earlier, the purpose of a Jubilee was to do what? To keep track of time, to know where you were as far as the Most High's timeline. How do we know this? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Right? Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. Pay attention to this. Ezekiel chapter 20, start at verse 10, please.
The book of Ezekiel chapter 20 verse 10.
Go ahead.
Wherefore I caused them to go forth out of the land of Egypt, and brought them into the wilderness.
Okay, go ahead.
And I gave them my statutes.
I gave them my statutes.
And showed them my judgments.
So you see that? So so this is the time period when the Most High had the children of Israel he's talking about the time period when he had the children of Israel in the wilderness for 40 years. And you're going to understand what that 40 years was about. Go ahead.
Which, if a man do, he shall even live in them. Verse 12. Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths.
See? So during those 40 years, the Most High was training them and showing them again how to calculate time. Because why? When they were in Egypt, they lost track of time because they was under another empire. The same way how we lost track of time because we're under the Roman Empire. So every time period, the Most High has to come back and show the children of Israel how to calculate time so we can know where we are in prophecy. See now you're starting to understand how important it is to know what time period you're in. The new year is not December 31st to January 1st. And you're going to find out later on in the lesson, how do you know when is the new year? Okay? So you see that? So the Most High had to show them during those 40 years in the desert, right? To get to wean them off of their old iniquities and sins from their other nations and teach them his ways. Right? Go ahead. What verse he was at?
Verse 12.
Verse 12. Listen to this now.
Moreover, I gave them my Sabbaths.
See, I gave them my Sabbaths. See, during that time period, the Most High gave us under Moses. He showed them again how to calculate time again. He gave them his Sabbaths. Go ahead.
To be a sign.
To be a what?
To be a sign.
So the Sabbaths were signs. So now you understand why the Most High always says what? Remember my Sabbaths to keep it holy. Because if you do not remember when the Sabbath is, there's no way you can keep track of time properly. Okay, I hope you're getting this. Go ahead.
To be a sign between me and them.
To be a sign between me and them. This is my sign between me and my people, where I will show you how to calculate time and know where you are as far as my timeline. And you can be aware of and know how much Jubilees is left until the what? The end. Go ahead.
That they might know, to be a sign between me and them.
Read verse 12 again from the top.
Verse 12?
Yeah.
Moreover, also I gave them my Sabbaths.
See, moreover, I gave them my Sabbaths.
To be a sign between me and them. That they might know that I am the Most High. Ahaya that sanctify them.
So you see that? So he did that so we could always know him, to know what he's getting ready to do. Because history repeats itself.
I think that's it on it.
Right? Yeah, get 13. Read 13. I want to read 13 too.
Verse 13.
Uh-huh.
But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness.
You see that? But the house of Israel rebelled against him in the wilderness. Even though the Most High was trying to teach them, right? They still went off. Not taking heed to the signs. Go ahead.
They walked not in my statutes.
They walked not in my statutes. Go ahead.
And they despised my judgments. Which if a man do, he shall even live in them. And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted.
And they did what?
And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted.
So our forefathers started to pollute the Most High Sabbaths. That actually means we didn't really keep the Sabbaths as far as tracking time. We didn't follow, the laws as far as when to let the land rest. And when and we started feasting on days that he didn't ordain. So that threw time off. You're gonna find out how that happened. Go ahead.
And my Sabbaths they greatly polluted.
And my Sabbath they greatly polluted. Go ahead.
Then I said, I would pour out my fury upon them in the wilderness to consume them.
Okay, that's it on that. So we see that the reasons for the Hebrews to calculate times by Jubilees was to what? Was to be a sign between them and the Most High. Right? That was how the Hebrews were able to calculate time. Now you see why it was important for us to keep the laws back then and to keep the times back then. Because if we did that, we would have the understanding of the proper time period. We wouldn't be saying right now in this day and age, Happy New Year in the dead of winter. Come December 31st. We wouldn't be saying Happy New Year because we would know when the New Year would come in. And we're going to show you. Stick with us, right? We're going to also go into the book of Jubilees. Okay? To show you another reason why it was important for us to keep the Sabbaths. Right? To learn, to be able to know how to calculate time. So if you have the book of Jubilees, right? Preferably the R.H. Charles translation. We go into the book of Jubilees, chapter 6. I want you guys to pay attention to this and listen to what the Most High told Moses concerning time, right? And for those of you who don't know what the book of Jubilees is, the book of Jubilees is a record of the time period of when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, but it's also a history of from the time of Adam up until the time of the children of Israel went into the land of Canaan, right? Which is a total of 49 Jubilees in total. From the time of Adam all the way to the time of the children of Israel, of the death of Moses and the children of Israel going into the land of Canaan, was 49 Jubilees and 2 weeks of years. I'll explain that later. But let's go into Jubilees, the 6th chapter, and I want you to start at 23.
The book of Jubilees, chapter 6, verse 23. And on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 4th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month are the days of remembrance.
So he said on the new moon. See, I want you to pay attention to this too. And this is how a lot of our brothers who've come back to being to knowing that that we are Israel and coming back to our heritage, they kind of fall off because they see the word new moon. But we're gonna explain that to you as well too. So it says in the new moon of the what? Start from the top. And on the new moon.
And on the new moon of the 1st month. And on the new moon of the 4th month. And on the new moon of the 7th month. And on the new moon of the 10th. Are the days of remembrance.
Are the days of remembrance.
And the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year.
You see, and the days of the seasons of the what?
4 divisions of the year.
4 divisions of the year. So now, this is what he's talking about. Give me 1 second. right? But you're gonna come to find out it's not new moons. It's the beginning of these four in these four distinct months brings in changes of seasons. So what you see here, I hope you guys can see that. So on the first, so that's how it is. The first month is what? On the first day of the first month, sorry, is spring. Then on the fourth month, the season changes to what? Summer. Then on the seventh month, the season changes to what? Fall. And on the 10th month, the season changes to winter. And that's how we celebrate, or that's how we keep the cycle throughout the years. And it never changes. Right? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. These are written and ordained as a testimony forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on here.
No, keep reading.
And Noah ordained them for himself, as feast for the generations forever.
So according to the scriptures, we're supposed to hold a feast every time the season change. And that was indication to us too of how to keep track of time. Feast, Sabbaths, Jubilees. Now you understand why we keep these days as Hebrews. It's not just we coming together to party and to drink and eat. It's actually in remembrance of trying to keep track of time, being on the same timestamp as the Most High. Because on these days, that's ordained as feasts. When you read it in Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, those are the same days that the Most High is in the heavens, keeping those days as holy days too. Go ahead.
Noah ordained them for himself as a feast for the generations forever.
Forever. So that means it never changed, right? So during so for those particular feasts is the change of season feast. You got it on the first month, on the fourth month of the seventh month, and on the 10th month, right? And you're gonna find out what's so beautiful about this. In between each month, it's evenly what? 13 weeks, evenly. So every 13 weeks, you have a new season. The Most High don't make a mistake. In this society, in the Roman society, they wait till the groundhog come up, and if you don't see his shadow, you're gonna be in winter for another couple of weeks. When the Most High already had it ordained that every 13 weeks, I'm gonna make it so that the season gonna change. And trust me, every year we've been following it, it's been right on course. The day it's supposed to change, you see the difference in temperature. Go ahead.
A feast for the generations forever, so that they have become thereby a memorial unto him. And on the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark.
So now it's going into why Noah actually ordained it, because strategically, the Most High made significant events happen in Noah's life on the change of seasons. So in the new moon of the first what?
In the new moon of the first month, he was bidden to make for himself an ark.
So in spring, the Most High, the first day of spring, he told them to what? Build an ark. That was the first day of spring. Go ahead.
And on that day, the earth became dry, and he opened up the abyss beneath. The earth became dry, and he opened the ark and saw the earth. And on the new moon of the fourth month,
so now in summer now,
the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed.
The water started to subside. Right? Go ahead. So that happened in summer.
Give me a paper. I can put it in a line.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Use this.
You know, don't be messing me up.
Yeah.
Okay. And on the new moon of the fourth month, the mouths of the depths of the abyss beneath were closed. And on the new moon of the seventh month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened.
You see that? So that was fall.
In the seventh month.
In the seventh month. See that? Go ahead.
And the waters began to descend into them. And on the new moon of the 10th month,
in winter, what happened then?
The tops of the mountains were seen.
So every change of season, the Most High made something significant happen during the Noah's flood. This is why Noah ordained these as feasts, to remember what happened on these days. Right? Go ahead.
And Noah was glad. And on this account, he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever. And thus are they ordained.
Go ahead.
And they placed them on the heavenly tablets.
So now the Most High actually honored those days as holy feasts, right? Go ahead.
Each had 13 weeks.
See? Each had 13 weeks. So that's how you know it has been perfectly designed. Every 13 weeks, the season changes. Keep that in mind. Always remember that. Every 13 weeks, according to the Most High, the season changes. Go ahead.
From one to another.
From one to another. Go ahead.
Past their memorial. From the first to the second. From the second to the third. And from the third to the fourth. And all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days.
So in order to calculate how many years or a full complete year, you'll have what? 52 weeks in a complete year. You see that? Go ahead.
So 13 weeks between months. 52 weeks.
So now when you do, what's 13 times 4? 52.
52.
You see how perfect the Most High is? When you multiply 13 by 4 seasons, you get 52 weeks. And the Most High just said 52 weeks complete a whole year. Go ahead.
And all the days of the commandment will be 250 weeks of days.
Okay, go ahead.
And these will make the entire year complete.
These will make the entire year complete. 13 weeks in between seasons, 52 weeks in a whole year. Go ahead.
Thus it is engraven and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year or from year to year.
So that's how you know you would have a complete year, from year to year. Now you're going to find out that there was no need for them to add leap years. That's because they're trying to go away from the way the Most High already established it. Once you go away from the way the Most High established it, you're always going to go off. I don't care how you try to do it. I don't care what kind of science you're using. You will never get the complete numbers how the Most High designed it. Go ahead.
32. And the commandment, and command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning.
So the children of Israel were supposed to observe the years by that way that he established it. Right? 13 weeks in between seasons. 4 seasons in a year. 13 weeks in between each season. 52 weeks in the whole year. Now I wonder how much days that is. You guys are mathematicians, right? You got 7 days in a week, right? 7 days in a week. 52 weeks in a year. So when you do 7 times 52, you get what? 364 days. But hold on, we grew up learning that it was 365 days in a year. You have been deceived. According to the Most High, that's only 364 days in a complete year. Continue reading. He's going to explain it.
The children of Israel should observe the years according to this reckoning. 364 days. 364 days.
364 days. 7 days of a week for 52 weeks gives you 364 days.
And these will constitute a complete year.
These will constitute a complete year. Go ahead.
And they will not disturb its time from its days and from its feasts. For everything will fall out in them according to their testimony.
You see that? And if you start to not follow my Sabbaths, and you don't keep my feast days, and you don't let the land rest on its Sabbath years, everything will fall off course the way he designed it, because you're not doing it the way he designed it to be done. Everything else will be running on schedule, but your time will be off. So the Most High did it where his system will continue running whether you get it right or wrong. You see that? Go ahead.
They just call it what they want to call it.
Yeah.
And they will not leave out any day nor disturb any feast. But if they do neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons.
They will disturb all their seasons. Go ahead.
And the years will be dislodged from this order.
You see that? The years will be dislodged. Now you won't have the proper calculation of a jubilee or where you are concerning time. You'll believe you're in 2017. You'll allow the Romans come in and add 297 years to your calendar. See that? Go ahead.
And they will disturb the seasons and the years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they will neglect their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths.
You see that?
And they will go wrong as to all the order of the years.
Mm-hmm.
For I know, and from henceforth will I declare it unto thee. And it is not of my own devising.
Mm-hmm.
For the book lies written before me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained.
Go ahead.
Lest they forget the feasts of the covenant, and walk according to the feasts of the Gentiles.
You see that? So if we fail to follow what the Most High designed, we will start to follow the feasts of the Gentiles, i.e. Christmas and New Year's, and all of the other pagan holidays that they have going on throughout the earth. Right? Go ahead.
Like some of these lag.
Yeah. One moment. Is lagging? One moment, brothers and sisters. We're getting really. Yeah, try to refresh your pages. Yes, they're saying, is anyone experiencing lag? He said, yes, I am as well. One moment, brothers and sisters. They don't want this information out there. One moment. Let me see if we could try to resolve this. It's still on. I'm just trying to see what's going on. One moment, brothers and sisters. I don't want this to keep on happening. It says a lot of lag. One moment, brothers and sisters. Huh? It's still lagging. Oh man. Weak.
What?
One moment. Yeah. Tell me how you guys, can you guys, if you guys real quick can just type into the chat, see if you guys can, are you guys still experiencing lag? And if not, we'll just try to continue with the lesson. We'll continue, and hopefully once the stream is over and it's been uploaded, it probably might play clearer, because it's not showing, like, it's showing that we have a good stream, unless it's happening on YouTube side. Yeah, still experiencing lag.
Upload speed that.
Oh. All right, let's continue with this, right? We do apologize about that, but we're gonna try to continue and try to get back to where we last left off. So as you can see, the Most High, right, designed it where it will be 13 weeks in between seasons, 52 weeks in a year, 364 days in a calendar year, right? But he said if we neglect to follow this order, if we forgot the feast days or we did not remember the Sabbath and we didn't keep these days as remembrance days, we would fall off as far as when is time, right? Or what time period or what timeline. Go ahead.
Lest they forget the feast of the covenant and walk according to the feast of the Gentiles.
You see that? Start walking according to the feast of the Gentiles. Go ahead.
After their error and after their ignorance.
After their error and after their ignorance. Go ahead.
For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon.
You see that? Now, some of you might get a little confused because it says there will be some of you who might make observations of the moon. But in the beginning, he said that we gotta follow the new moon of the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th month. Right? Continue reading.
Observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon.
So it says that some of us might make observation of the moon and come in 10 days too soon. Right? Now, to prove that when the Most High was saying new moon, he wasn't talking about the physical appearance of the moon. Just to prove that, let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. I just want to get one scripture just to show you. Right? First Samuel chapter 20. 1 Samuel chapter 20 and verse 5. Look at this real quick. Read what this says.
1 Samuel chapter 20 verse 5. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon.
Tomorrow is the what?
Tomorrow is the new moon.
So now somebody reading this might say, yeah, you see, we're supposed to follow the moon. When we just read in Jubilees where it says we're not supposed to make the observation of the moon, right? But go ahead.
And I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go, that I may hide myself in the field unto the 3rd day at even.
So now it says that David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. So now I'm going to share my screen with you so you guys can see. Hopefully I did it correctly. Oh, no. 1 second. Let's see here. I'm going to share my screen with you so you guys can see it in the Hebrew, what the word new moon means in Hebrew. Okay? Let me share my screen with you guys. Let me see if I can do this real quick. All right? Okay. I did it on the wrong thing, but I'll just share this with you. I'll just enlarge it like this and then I'll get rid of it. So what do you see here for a new moon here? Read that real quick.
It says the new moon, by implication, a month.
So the Hebrew, if you have a Strong's, the Strong's is H2320. It says by implication, it says the new moon. Go ahead.
A new moon. Implication a month.
It says by implication a month.
Monthly.
And
a new moon.
So basically, the new moon actually represents a new month. Okay? The new moon represents a new month. 1 second. I get rid of the right thing. One moment, brothers and sisters. Everything.
Downsize it. Margin it.
Yeah. Got rid of the wrong screen. One moment, brothers and sisters. Now there's no visual. Okay, we're back. Right? So, in the Hebrew, the word that was there was new month. But when they translated it into English, it translated into what? New moon. So the new moon represents a new month. Okay? So now go back and read it to what you got in Jubilees.
And from the Feast of the Gentiles, line 30.
Yeah, 37.
Line 37 in chapter 6.
Well, starting from where it says, I'll surely observe the time of the moons.
Okay.
Up or line up.
Okay. Same line 36.
Mm-hmm.
For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year 10 days too soon. For this reason, the years will come upon them when they will disturb the order, and make an abominable day for the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day. And they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and the Sabbaths and the feasts and the Jubilees. For this reason I command and testify to thee, that thou mayest testify to them. For after thy death, thy children will disturb them.
So you see that? So the Most High already told Moses that the children of Israel will neglect to follow these feast days and to keep track of time and observe the time following the moon. And with the moon calculation, what? It comes in 10 days too soon. Go ahead.
And in thy death, thy children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only.
You see that? Go ahead.
And for this reason, they will go wrong as to the new moons or months.
Go ahead.
And seasons and Sabbaths and festivals. And they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh.
So you see, that's it on that. So you see that? So the reason for us to keep track of time was to keep us not only on the Most High's time stamps, right? But to keep us from following the celebrations of the Gentiles. Okay? Celebration of the Gentiles. So now he said what? That the feasts or the years will come in what? 10 days too soon by following the lunar calendar. Right? Now I want to read this. To share my screen with you again. All right?
Don't watch this.
Yeah. We're not going to try not to mess this one up. All right. Here it goes.
Ooh.
Wikipedia. What it says here. A lunar calendar. Let's listen to this. Go ahead.
A lunar calendar is a calendar based upon cycles of the moon's phases.
So you see that? A lunar calendar is based on the cycles of the moon's phases. And mind you, the Most High said what? The moon is 10 days too short. So instead of you having a complete year of 364, you will have a year of 354 because you are following the moon. Right? Go ahead.
In contrast to solar calendars, whose annual cycles are based only directly upon the solar year. The most commonly used calendar, the Gregorian calendar, is a solar calendar system which originally evolved out of a lunar calendar system.
So they're saying that the Gregorian calendar used to follow a lunar calendar, but transitioned to a solar one. But by that time, you're already off because you already started following the moon. So the Gregorian calendar is still off, even though they tried to change it back to a solar calendar, right? Look at this. Right? Searching this Jewish calendar. Read this real quick.
The Hebrew calendar is a lunisolar calendar.
You see that? You see how the Jewish people are off? Because they follow the lunar solar calendar. They do both. They follow the moon and the sun. They're confused. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Meaning that the months are based on lunar months.
Look at that. All off.
But years are based on solar years.
Off. Completely and utterly off. Look at this. Right? I want you to read. Oh, you don't got to go into that. So we see that the Jewish calendar follows a lunar solar year. When they got that from the lunar year calendar. Also want to show this. Now the question is where did the Jewish people and the Romans get this information from? I'll share my screen with you again. Look at this. What does this say?
The Babylonian calendar.
The Babylonian calendar, right?
The Babylonian calendar was a lunisolar calendar.
Was a what?
Lunisolar calendar.
So now you see where your modern day Jewish people and your Romans getting their inspiration on how to make their calendars from ancient Babylon.
And they act like they don't know each other.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand.
I don't know him. What?
They go hand in hand. So you see, the Romans followed the system of the Babylonians, right? The Babylon and the Jewish people, which are actually Romans, keep the same tradition, but they try to mask it, you know, in the Hebrew way, with following it from the time of creation, so called, right? Now look at this. I want to show you another Wikipedia information. Look at this. What does this say?
A tropical year.
A tropical year is known as what?
A tropical year, also known as a solar year.
As a solar year,
for general purposes, is the time that the sun takes to return to the same position in the cycle of seasons.
You see that? And where can we find that information? You got it. The Book of Enoch. We're going to go into that. Go ahead.
As seen from Earth. For example, the time from vernal equinox to vernal equinox, or from summer solstice to summer solstice. Because of the precision of the equinoxes, the seasonal cycle does not remain exactly synchronized with the position of the Earth in its orbit around the sun.
Okay, that's all I wanted to get on that, right? Right? So as you can see, the solar year calendar, or how you follow the year through the solar, is actually part of the right way, and we get that information in the Book of Enoch, right? But as you can see, the way not to follow was what? The lunar calendar, which the Babylonians were doing, and we see the Romans picked it up, and also the Jewish people picked it up, right? Now let's go into the Book of Enoch and let's see how Enoch explained why not to follow the lunar calendar, right? We go into Enoch, the 74th chapter. I just want to read a little bit about that. Enoch 74, and I want you to start at the end of verse 12. Look at this, and then continue reading down.
Enoch 74, verse 12. And the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly.
So you see that? It says the sun and the stars bring in the year exactly. So you have to follow the sun in order to have a complete calculation of time. You cannot follow the moon first and then follow the sun. And we see that's a representation of the Most High, because what? The Most High created what? Man first, then woman. Right? making the man the head, and what? The woman is supposed to follow. The man leads and the woman follow. That's the same way the Most High made it with creation. The sun being masculine goes first, and the moon being feminine follows the sun. So if you put it in reverse now and follow the moon instead of the sun, you'll be in reverse of how the Most High actually put it. Right? Continue reading.
Mm-hmm. So the sun and the stars bring in all the years exactly. So that they do not advance or delay their position by a single day unto eternity.
Go ahead.
But complete the years with perfect justice in 364 days.
So you see that? So by following the cycle of the sun, you'll find the complete order of the year of 364. But if you follow the moon first, you'll be off by 10 days. Watch, read it. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. In 3 years, there are 1,092 days.
So in 3 years, when you times 3 times, when you do 3 times 364, you're supposed to get 1,092 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's if you're following the solar cycle. Go ahead.
And in not the solar, the moon when it's coming up.
Go ahead. No, just read it.
I'll read it. And in 5 years, 1,820 days.
Mm-hmm.
So that in 8 years, there are 2,912 days.
So he's giving you the calculation how you would get it if you was to follow the solar calendar for 3 years, 5 years, and also 8 years. That's how much days you're supposed to have. But listen to the next line. Go ahead.
For the moon alone, the days amount in 3 years to 1,062 days.
So you see that? Go ahead.
And in 5 years, she falls 50 days behind.
So you see that? So as you can see, if you do the same calculation for a lunar year of 354, you will have less days in the 5-year period. She falls behind 50 days when she would be, if you follow the sun, it would have 50 extra days instead of the 50 less days. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. It gives an example, i.e. to the sum of 1,070,
mm-hmm.
there is 15 to be added to 1,062 days.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
And in the 5 years, there are 1,770 days. So that for the moon, the days in 8 years amount to 2,832 days.
Mm-hmm.
For in the 8 years, she falls behind to the amount of 80 days.
You see that? So if you continue to follow the moon instead of the sun, in 8 years, you fall behind 80 days. So now imagine you do this for a number of years. You continue to follow a lunar cycle. You know how many days off you would be? Because he just gave you the calculation of if it would have just happened for 8 years. You're already 80 days behind. So when the Most High is speaking about certain events or jubilees, you'll be 80 days behind if you was following it, 8 years behind.
So how old are we?
Now that's another question. What is our real age? You see that? Because we're not even on the proper time schedule. Because they've been following the lunar cycle for God knows how long. So we're actually off by a couple of hundred years, a couple of hundred days, which would amount to years. You see that? But continue reading.
All the days she falls behind in 8 years are 80.
Mm-hmm.
And the years accurately completed in conformity with their world stations and the stations of the sun, which rise from the portals through which the sun rises and sets 30 days.
That's good. So I just wanted to get that piece of information. This is what the book of Enoch is saying. So if you continue to follow your years based on the moon, you will be off by 10 days each year. So in 8 years, you'll be off by what? 80 years, 80 days. So now each year, just time that by 10. So now if you got 100, if you got 100 years you've been following this calendar, how many days are you off by? 1,000. If you got 100 years, 100 times 10 is what? What's 100 times 10? 1,000. Right? Now, if you've been following this calendar for 200 years, how many years off are you? 2,000 days off. You see that? This is why they try to change times and laws.
I'm not doing that math for my age.
Now imagine do it for our age. How many days off are we actually from our real birthdays?
I don't want to know.
And I don't even want to go into that because that's another lesson in itself, right?
I'm good.
So we see here that the Book of Enoch explains that, right? Not to follow the moon because you're going to be off. Each year you follow a lunar calendar, you'll be off by 10 days, and you will bring in your new year 10 days too soon, meaning you'll be changing years more often than what the Most High have the season changing it to be. See that? Now, Enoch the 72nd chapter actually shows us the proper way of how to calculate when the new year actually comes in, right? Following the sun. I only want to read 2 verses from it. So Enoch 72, because if you start from Enoch 72 and 1, it actually speaks about the cycle of the sun during each season, where it speaks about how much sunlight you get during the day and how much darkness you get during the night. Now you understand why they have to also do things like daylight savings, trying to compensate for time because they're off in time. But the Most High has it that it's actually supposed to be more, you're supposed to actually have more light in the summer, and you're supposed to have actually less light in the winter. The Most High designed it like that. When you read the Book of Enoch, it explains it. But we're only going to get 2 scriptures from that. Go ahead.
The Book of Enoch 72 verse 33.
Go ahead.
32.
Uh-huh.
On that day, the night decreases, and amounts to 9 parts.
Mm-hmm.
And the day to 9 parts.
Mm-hmm.
And the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as it is, as to its days, 364.
So what that actually means is on the last day of the year, you're supposed to have an equal amount of daylight and an equal amount of moonlight or darkness. And then the very next day after that brings in what? The first day of the year. Okay? And over here, it says 9 parts day, 9 parts night. The way the Hebrews calculated back then was what? It was an 18-part day, or meaning it was an 18-hour day consisting of 80 hours per hour, 80 minutes per hour, excuse me, totaling a total of 144,000 minutes per day. And it's the same thing if you do it with the 24, but they just converted it, but it's still the same thing. All right? Mm-hmm. So now.
So it should be the last day of 2017.
Right.
It should be 12 hours of night.
Right.
And it should be 12 hours of day.
Khan, if you was following it during this time system.
So for those watching,
mm-hmm.
Let's see if Sunday has 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night.
Right. If you want to calculate, if you want to try to find out if this Sunday will give you the new year, calculate the time. See if you get an equal amount of sunlight during December 31st and an equal amount of darkness, mm-hmm. which would give you 12 hours. Because there's 24 hours in a day, 12 hours day. Let's see if you get 12 hours day and 12 hours night. You're not going to get it because you're still in winter, right? And that's not the completion of the year. So now let's go to when's the new year according to the Most High. Go to the book of Exodus 12. Exodus 12 and 1. Read that real quick.
Book of Exodus chapter 12 verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And the Most High spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, mm-hmm. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
This month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
It shall be the first month of the year to you.
It shall be the first month of the year to you. Right? So now we're gonna find out what's the name of that first month. Go to Exodus 23. Exodus 23 and 15, excuse me. So the Most High told them that the beginning of the year would be during Passover time. 23 and 15. What that says here.
Exodus 23 and 15.
Yeah.
Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days as I commanded thee. In the time appointed of the month Abib.
In the month what?
Abib.
Abib is the first month of the year. So now, don't finish reading. I want to read this real quick. The Hebrew for the word Abib. Right? The Hebrew for the word Abib, and this is how you know the Most High is perfect, because the language is actually perfect. The Hebrew language actually described what you were doing, or the action of the time, or whatever it is that you're naming. Right? So the first month was what? Named the month Abib. So the Hebrew word for Abib, if you have a strong concordance, is H24. It says Abib, right? It says meaning to be tender, green. That is a young ear of grain. Hence the name month Abib, or Nisan, which is Babylonian. Abib, ear, green, green ears of corn. So now, when are things green? When are things springing up? When do you reap? When do you grow crops? Springtime. Springtime brings in a new year. That's the beginning of new life. That's how the Most High did it. That's how the Most High did it. In the winter, everything is dying. So that's showing you it's the end of the year. Death. Then comes life. Spring. Abib. You see that? Now finish reading what you got there.
In the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt.
So you see that? So the time period that the children of Israel came out of Egypt was the first month of the year. And look how the Most High strategically did it. He delivered the children of Israel on the first day of the year. Well, around that time period. On the first month, in the first season, spring. Go ahead.
And none shall appear before me empty. Verse 16.
No, okay. Now get Deuteronomy 16:1.
Deuteronomy 16:1. Observe the month of Abib.
Observe the month of Abib. So when you want to say Happy New Year, it better be on the month of Abib. Go ahead.
And keep the Passover.
And keep the what?
And keep the Passover.
And keep the Passover, a marker of you know that you're in the month of Abib.
Unto the Most High thy power.
Unto the Most High thy power. You see, this is how the children of Israel kept time. They kept the seasons, and feasts brought in certain seasons and certain times and markers of Jubilee. And they understood where they were concerning time because they kept feasts, they kept the Sabbaths, okay? And they knew the Jubilees. And this is the reason why the Roman Empire had to change the times and laws to throw the children of Israel off concerning prophecy and where they are in prophecy, right? What else I got for you here? I mean, I'm gonna save that one for another day to show you the amount of Jubilees. Matter of fact, just to prove something, what the Most High was showing Moses in the book of Jubilees, right, as a marker. Now, read Jubilees 50:1. Just read it from there. Listen to this now, brothers and sisters. Listen to this.
Jubilees 50:1.
Uh-huh.
And after this law I made known to thee the days of the Sabbaths in the desert of Sinai, which is between Elam and Sinai. And I told thee of the Sabbaths of the land of the Mount Sinai.
See? Sabbath of lands, meaning the Sabbath of years. Go ahead.
And I told thee of the Jubilee years in the Sabbaths of years. But the year thereof have I not told thee, till ye enter the land which ye are to possess. And the land also shall keep its Sabbaths while they dwell upon it, and they shall know the Jubilee year. Wherefore I have ordained for thee the year weeks, and the years and the Jubilees. There are 49 Jubilees from the days of Adam until this day.
So of the completion of the book of Jubilees, when the Most High gave Moses the complete book of the Jubilees, he told Moses where he was in time. You see why he had to teach Moses that and teach the children of Israel that? For them to be able from that time period continue to count the Jubilees to know until the consummation. Right? Go ahead. He said from the time of Adam, read that part again.
There are 49 Jubilees from the days of Adam until this day.
Until the day that he was talking to Moses. Go ahead.
And 1 week and 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there are yet 40 years to come.
See, so there was 40 more years to come that what?
For learning the commandments of the Most High.
So now you understand why the children of Israel had to be in the desert for 40 years. The Most High was training them those 40 years to learn how to keep the Sabbaths, learn how to keep the days of the weeks, know how to monitor Jubilees, and to extract them from their old habits, to keep them on schedule. Go ahead.
Until, for the learning of the commandments of the Most High, until they pass over into the land of Canaan.
So it took nearly another full Jubilee for them to go into the land of Egypt. Another marker. Go ahead.
Crossing the Jordan to the west. And the Jubilee shall pass by until Israel is cleansed from all guilt of fornication.
You see that? So it took another Jubilee to bring Israel into completion. So it took 50 years to cleanse them of everything, of all the old habits. You see that? Go ahead.
Guilt of fornication and uncleanness.
And uncleanness and what?
And pollution and sin. And error. And dwells with confidence in all the land.
So now he had to do that to make sure that when they get into the land of Canaan, they know how to treat the land and let it rest. And give them the Sabbath of rest and be on point with time. Go ahead.
And there shall be no more a Satan or any evil one. And the land shall be clean from that time forevermore. Verse 6. And behold, the commandment regarding the Sabbaths. I have written them down for thee and all the judgments of its laws. 6 days shalt thou labor, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your power. In it ye shall do no manner of work, ye and your sons, and your men servants, and your maid servants, and all your cattle, and the sojourner also who is with you. And the man that does any work on it shall die. Whoever decretes that day, whoever desecrates that day, whoever lies with his wife, or whoever says he will do something on it, that he will set out on a journey thereon, in regard to any buying or selling. And whoever draws water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself, on the 6th day, and whoever takes up any burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. Ye shall do no work whatsoever on the Sabbath day, save what ye have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day, so as to eat and to drink and rest, and keep Sabbath from all work on that day, and to bless the Lord your power, who has given you a day of festival and a holy day, and a day of the holy kingdom for all Israel is this day among their days forever. For great is the honor which the Most High has given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day. And rest thereon from all labor which belongs to the labor of the children of men, save burning frankincense and bringing oblations and sacrifices before the Most High for the days and for Sabbaths.
So you see, that's why now you understand. Now you have a little understanding of why the Most High was so hard on the children of Israel to keep the Sabbaths. Why? To keep them on point as far as where they were on time. The Most High wanted his people to know where they were in as far as history, as far as timeline, so they could be able to prepare themselves and to treat the land a certain way and to treat each other a certain way. That way, every 50 years they already knew what was going down, right? And every 50 year, the Most High would bring it in during the time of atonement, and that's another understanding too as well. But you see here, that's how we was able to calculate time. right? And I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to do this again because the stream was so jacked up. And you know, I'm gonna have to wait till the playback to see how it went, and maybe we probably do it again. But that's the lesson in a nutshell. You have been deceived. When is the new year? The new year is in the month of Bib. Okay? Let's go to the comment board. I know it was horrible tonight, and we do apologize for that. And everybody was saying they was experiencing lag. We have Melanin Rich Nagast. It says Shabbat Shalom family. Shabbat Shalom Ak. Right? Oh no, Ak or sister, excuse me, I don't want to, mess it up. It says London, UK locked in. Thank you for coming into the stream.
Thank you.
Right? Brianna Griffith, Shabbat Shalom. All honor and glory to Ahaya Ba'ashem Yeshua Wakwadash. Yes. All praises. Denzel Lot, Shabbat Shalom. And once again, we do apologize for the lag. And we do hope that, at least you guys were able to hear the words. Do you think when you went on, it was okay? Yeah. If anything, we'll probably do this lesson again. We'll do this lesson again in a later time where we have better streaming quality or internet, so that way you guys can get this information. This is very important that we get our people to understand that the proper time, because like I said, everybody's about to go crazy, get drunk. December 31st, and it's not even the new year. They're celebrating for no reason, right? Keeping the feasts of the Gentiles. So, any comments or questions in the room, real quick, before we got James. Okay.
And I did some math. From the time of the Roman calendar was, and then they're off
20,000.
20,000.
You said from
the time of
when they start. That's from when they actually started. Who knows how far it was?
And then at least
that was BC.
57 years.
From where?
57. Time of the
That's interesting.
And then I calculated the age.
I don't want to know. I'm good.
But I'm still.
You're
difference for Laura. Laura is already 7.
Oh yeah.
But it's another year.
Ooh.
60, 90.
So basically, we're actually behind in age. We're actually a little older than what we're supposed to be. Yeah. So if you was born, I guess if you was born, let's say on the 5th. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to actually been celebrating that 10 days earlier.
For me, I'm 20.
No, but well, yeah, because we've been following the 365 instead of the 364. There's a whole bunch of math behind that. I don't even want to get into the math because I already feel my head hurting.
That's why I said I'm good.
I divided 5 points.
You had something too. But that's a great. That was great. Calculations. I gotta actually go into the math actually.
I thought that was a wonderful, fabulous.
All praises to the Most High.
Like lunar days, or was it the?
Lunar was the months, and the solar was they follow a solar year. I don't even know how you can calculate that. They follow a lunar month, and they follow a solar year, which is already off because you're already following the moon first.
You know what's so crazy?
Yeah.
You know the time is always gonna be off. I can't. Real one.
Yeah. They were 10 days
It was a little bit ahead, but
ahead.
I can see it's only.
Right. They doing it because they're not. Because according to the Most High, everything is supposed to fall exactly in order, like every year, a complete cycle. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good question. As far as like the complete number of jubilees, there is a way to calculate that. There is scripture that actually gives you that, but I'm not gonna give it away now. I'm gonna save that for another lesson. But there is a way to calculate that as far as how many jubilees the Most High have actually put in place, because the scriptures tell you that everything is on a timeline with the Most High from the beginning to the end. Like he has it all. He has everything already measured out. Everything is measured out. It's just we're living it. We're actually trying to catch up to where he wants us to be.
But
Everything has to play out the way he said it. That's why the end can't just be like, I wish the end could come happen right now. But everything has to happen on his time. And the fact that we went off in a time, now we gotta catch up again to where he actually wants us to be with time. That's why he revealed it to Moses. He revealed it to Esdras. He revealed it to Baruch, and revealing it again in this time to us, and this time again. He always revealed it to his people before he delivers them. That's how he does it. But yeah, I know. Yeah, he was first. All right. Yeah. Oh, he was. All right. Definitely.
I want to see if you can.
Mm-hmm.
Actually
Go into the land, right?
that's 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. So
He made them the 11, right? To remind them of that. Exactly. There's no way you could tell me it was a Big Bang if the Most High did it. So he has the numbers down so accurately. Yeah.
Talking about the home was founded, and they made
753 BC.
Is it BC or AD?
BC is before Christ. Yeah. Remember, when Christ was being born, who was in power? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was already in existence.
So this was 7 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They said that's how they.
Yeah, because it goes down backwards.
Yeah.
And then it starts from 0, then 1, then from Christ 0, 1, 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's how they do it. Oh yeah, it was themselves. You said what? What you said? Yeah, of course. Nah. There's no way you could observe the moon like waiting for a full moon. That's what they considered a new moon. If you're waiting for that, then that's gonna even throw off your Sabbaths. Then you're gonna have Sabbaths on Mondays or Tuesdays. One week your Sabbath will be on a Wednesday. That's kind of that's madness. You understand? Right. Right, for the moon, right. Nah. On the calendar, right? Yeah. They follow that because like that goes to show you the Romans still follow that lunar solar calendar. They got that information from ancient Babylon. And that's why the Most High, when you read in Jubilees, the Most High said, yo, be careful, don't follow the moon. Because why? Other nations was already doing that before we got the understanding of how to calculate time. The Babylon, the Egyptians was following that same structure. All the empires in this world was following the same structure, except for the children of Israel. The children of Israel was the only one who had the calendar correct under Enoch. The Most High showed Enoch, and then, we lost it. Then Abraham started following it. Then we lost it when we went into Egypt. Then we got it back again under Moses. We lost it again. Now we got it back again now, right? Yeah. Let's read that. You said Yeah, I remember that one too.
13.
You want to get it?
Matthew 13 and 33. Another parable spake he unto them. The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took, and hid in 3 measures of meal, till the whole was leavened. And all these things spake Yeshua.
No, that was it. Is that on the parable? No, go ahead.
And all these things spake Yeshua unto the multitude in parables. And without a parable spake he not unto them, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, saying, I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter things which have been kept secret from the foundation of the world.
So basically, what this is what I get my interpretation of what Christ was saying here. He said the kingdom of heaven is like what? It's like unto leaven. What is leaven? Leaven will what make bread rise, right? Or make things rise, right? The kingdom of heaven is like unto leaven, which a woman took and did what? And hid in 3 measure of meal till the whole was leavened. So that means a part of the kingdom, or the part of the children of Israel, will be hid until the fulfillment of the children of Israel has been gathered, and now they'll be able to rise up and get the kingdom. The fulfillment of prophecy, right? Till all things have been fulfilled. The children of the kingdom have to be hid for a time until it's ready to be brought forward. I wouldn't say it's related to time. I would say it's, I don't know if there's a significance to the number, but I believe that it's just as far as I would say 3 parts. Yeah, figurative of like a part of the world or something like that. I don't even want to guess that, but that's what I'm getting from that. Because he don't, for this parable, you know how you usually say the parable and he just explains it. That's basically what he's talking about here. Hiding the children of Israel hiding amongst the Gentiles until until the whole was leavened, until everybody was ready to come back.
I just looked up the Jewish provision. And obviously every
on a Sabbath, right? OD, yeah. Now that Jewish people, they off. OD. And once again, we do apologize for the state of the stream. We see that we do see that it's lagging. I mean, it shows that we're having a good stream, but I see that it's lagging. We do apologize, and if it's really that bad, we'll probably come back and do this lesson again, so that way everybody can get the edification. But Tanisha Davis says Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, sis. She says, sorry I couldn't make it. I'm not feeling too well. Great lesson. Levi did a lesson with me on this when I was in Rochester, but now I have more of an understanding prior to last week. Khan, all praise to the Most High. Discussion on Christmas really being the massacre of Christ. Khan, for every holiday that people celebrate, are the Roman Catholics to blame for all. She said, for every holiday that people celebrate, are the Roman Catholics to blame for all of this, or other religions? Yes, but it's them who are in league with who? Satan. Okay, the Romans, they, like we read in Daniel earlier, they thought to change times and laws. So all of the times that we follow, and yes, believe it or not, in their system, these holidays are laws for them to keep from year to year. That's how you know it's a law, because if it wasn't a law, they would skip it one year and not celebrate it, but they celebrate it from year to year to year. They will think to change times and laws. So your holidays, according to the system, are laws of the Roman Catholic Church or the Roman Empire. Yes, you were correct on that. Right? Yes, anything else out?
Yeah, I just only got one quick scripture to read. Like every time you go into Babylon, as you mentioned, how Babylon the last horn that's sprung out, and Revelations 18, talking about when the drink gets finished.
Yeah.
It was like, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. The voice of the bridegroom of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For by thy merchant were the great men of the earth, by thy sorcery all nations.
And that's that. This is this last kingdom. Great scripture on that one. And like I said, we do apologize for the state of the stream, brothers and sisters. But hopefully during the playback, it plays normally. And if not, we'll do this lesson again to get this information out there. But we want to bid you all Godspeed for now, right? We want to thank you guys for coming in on the Sabbath, even though the stream is not 100%. But we want to thank you guys for still coming in, learning, building with the brothers and sisters in the room, and you guys taking your time out of your Sabbath to spend time with us and learn with the body of Christ Kingdom. We want to thank you, brothers and sisters, for that. You got anything you want to say? Any closing remarks?
Keep up the good fight.
Khan.
Don't give up on the Most High, because He never gave up on you this whole time.
Khan. All praise to the Most High.
Stop dealing with your uncircumstances on your own, and link yourself with like-minded brothers and sisters.
Khan. All praises to the Most High. And that's key. That's key right now for this time that we're living in. You don't want to be by yourself. When things hit the fan, you want to be with good brothers, solid brothers and sisters in the truth, who got your back the whole step of the way. Because if that was the case, the Most High would have made Adam, and just that's it. But Adam needed a helpmeet, and he made Eve.
You would have gave Adam a pair of headphones.
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah, or a TV screen.
Listen to that music. You good?
Well, yeah, but definitely we want to thank you, brothers and sisters. We want to say we thank you. We love you, brothers and sisters. Keep up the good fight, and Kwam Yasharala.
Kwam Yasharala.
All right, Shabbat Shalom, family.
You in the spirit out there,